Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be attempting to build a guitar pedal in 10 minutes. It's a simple boost. The circuit's been chosen for its simplicity. You can use it inside your guitar to boost the output. Runs on a 9-volt battery, or you can mount it inside a enclosure. If you want a more in-depth explanation on how to build guitar pedals, choruses and flanges and all sorts of things like that, check out my channel. I've got a playlist on how to build a guitar pedal. There's 9 videos and it goes through it step by step. But for this one it's going to be a simple, fun little project, and I'd best get started because the clock is ticking. So what you'll need is a J201 transistor, a 50k linear potentiometer, 2 1/4-inch jacks, mono, a 1.5 microfarad film cap capacitor, or you could use 2 680 nanofarad in parallel, because these are quite expensive for an alternative, and a 10 microfarad electrolytic capacitor. 4 resistors. You'll need 68k, 12k, 22k and 100k, and you'll need a piece of vero board with 10 tracks, a minimum of 10 tracks and 9 holes for the size. Also, it's optional, but you can use a socket with your J201 so that you can, if you put it in the wrong way around, you can swap it. That's optional. If you know which way to put the J201 around, then you don't need it. Start off with the vero board and score a line down the middle. So you'd be scoring the line on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th hole, so that you separate the tracks on both sides. And then using a multimeter, check to make sure that they're separated, so you shouldn't get a beep when you go through, and just make sure that you've separated them properly down the tracks. Draw a line on the opposite side of the vero board, like that, so you know where you've scored the line. Now from the bottom of the board, insert the component so it goes through the top and the legs come out the copper side on the bottom. So one leg's on one side of the line and the other leg's on the other, and go up the board with 68k, then 12k, then 22k, then the 1.5 microfarad capacitor, then the electrolytic capacitor. When inserting the electrolytic capacitor, make sure that the white stripe is on, if you're looking at the board like this, the white stripe is on this side. Solder them in and clip off the leads as you go. Try not to solder any of the leads together as you're soldering them in. Don't make any shorts between any of the points on the board. Using one of the leads that you've cut off, make a link with it and link the capacitor, the big capacitor, and the resistor next to it together on this side of the board. Just a note, when you put that link in, you'll actually have to put it right under the capacitor, because we need all the holes up here. So you can see, I don't know if you can see under that little leg there, there's the link. So just basically just go the next hole up and put the link in. So on the bottom, that's the row the capacitor's on. The next one up is where the link I've put. You'll see why when we continue on. We need to use all the other holes after that one. Insert the socket into the next hole up from where you've just put the link, or the transistor. Make sure you put it the right way around if you're not using a socket, because once you're soldering it, it's a bit of a pain getting it back out again. cut the legs shorter on the transistor, probably about halfway is fine, and insert it into the socket with the flat edge facing up like that. So that's the flat edge up here. With the last remaining resistor, connect the two capacitors, these two capacitors together. You can see mine's there. It's on the other side, so the transistor's up this side. You're putting it on that side, so it connects the black and the red maroon coloured capacitors together, linking them. You can see it there. Add 3 lengths of wire on track 1, 4 and 5. Link the wire from track 5 over to track 2. Connect the red lead from the battery snap to track 3 and the black to track 2. My blue wire here on track 1 is the input, and my white wire on track 4 is the output. Looking at the back of the potentiometer, you want to put a piece of wire up to the middle lug and go across to the right, and then wire a second piece to the this lug here on its own. So you have one go up to the middle and go to the right, and then one on the left on its own. So when you're done, your potentiometer should look like that. You can see on this side I've linked it across those two, and on this one it's left on its own. So just, yeah, some short lengths of wire like that, connected like that. The length of wire that is on its own goes into track 2 up the other end of the circuit where the transistor is. So you're putting it into the track that the middle leg of the transistor is on. With the other wire left over that you connected the 2 legs of the potentiometer with, that goes into track 5 on the board, up the same end as the transistor like you put the other one. So now you should have something that looks like this. This is the potentiometer on this side, and you've got your in and your out, and that's the 9-volt battery. So we're on the home stretch now. We just connect the in and out. So connect each of the 2 remaining wires to one of the lugs, the tip lug on your mono jack. And the tip lug, if you look at it side on, you'll see that it's kind of a sandwich, and you can see that this is the tip. So you just follow it down and work out which one of these 2 lugs is connected to the tip, and solder one onto one of the jack's lugs and one onto the other, so you've got input and output. Now you have those 2 connected to the 2 lugs like that. Connect one more piece of wire from the shield of both of the jacks, which is the remaining lug. So a piece of wire across, and then another piece of wire from either one of those lugs down to track 5 on the front side, not the back where the transistor is, on the front. So just to clarify on that last point, you're soldering the remaining 2 lugs, which are the shield lugs, on both of the jacks together, and then off either of those lugs solder another piece of wire. You can see that one's got 2 connected to it. Another piece of wire down onto the board on track 5 on the opposite end of the transistor, not the transistor side, the side with all the wires connected to it. And that's pretty much it. So you just plug it in, make sure you plug input into input and output into output, input into input, output into output. And when you first turn it on, make sure your amp is down low, because if you've turned this up full blast or down to minimum, if you've turned this up full blast and you turn your amp on and your amp's up loud, you're going to get a really loud output. So just make sure that you have it turned down when you're first testing it. So that's it for this video. Hopefully it should have a working boost. It's a pretty simple build as far as builds go. Even for boost, it's quite simple. If you want to see more tutorials, check out my channel. I've also got a plan to do, I might do a fuzz. I've seen a couple of circuits around that are pretty simple, and we should be able to do something similar to what we've done here. So yeah, if you want to see more, make sure you subscribe, and thanks for watching.